Welcome back. It's been a while. This is the NoFX podcast, and, we took a bit of a hiatus, mostly because of me, because, I moved and yada yada. I explained this in the stream and or in the last video that I put out last week, but we're back and we're doing the thing. So, new videos, new streams, and new podcast episodes coming, not on the entirely set schedule, but, I'm trying to get out some new content every week, so stay tuned for that. I'm joined today, first of all, I'm your host, Izlain, as you should already know, and I'm joined by a member of the stream team and or Discord mod, the Rev, who is kind of sort of filling in for Kirk, but at the same time, this has turned into basically a team effort, as lots of us have lives and other things going on, so sometimes you can't make it, and I'm pretty much the only anchor because I'm the one who does the recording and editing and all that good stuff. But with that aside, we're back, and we're met with some interesting news recently about some new cards becoming legal to be your commander. And I struggled to find any official announcement from Wizards, but I saw a couple posts that said basically there was a stream about Magic stuff, and they announced this change, but they have still yet to put any posting on the actual website. So it's kind of sketchy in that way, and I kind of had to look around and find information to see, what was really what. But I think we narrowed it down. To be fair, I know there's other content creators out there that have already talked about this because I've seen the videos, I just haven't watched the videos. So perhaps I could have answered some of these questions myself, but I digress. Anyhow, first of all, it's now legal for you to play as your commander any legendary vehicle or legendary spacecraft that exists. And the only place we're getting spacecraft from is this new set called Edge of Eternities, which, spoiler season, is happening right now. They've introduced these new spacecraft, and they're not vehicles in the traditional sense where they get crewed and they do things. It's more so that they are kind of a static just thing that's hanging out, and you can station by crew, if you're not familiar, is if say a card has crew 2, that means any creature with power 2 or greater can be tapped to then crew that vehicle, and then the vehicle essentially becomes a creature and can attack and do other things as needed. The spacecraft are different in the fact that they have a new mechanic called station, and it works very similar to crew. It's still tap a creature, add its power to that spacecraft, but they have kind of higher ceilings as far as that goes, because it's like get it up to 7 and then you can finally do something with it. So we haven't seen full spoilers either, so we don't know how many of these are going to be.
It should be noted with station, it's counters. You put counters on it, so
it's not temporary.
Turn over turn.
Right. Yeah. And actually, I skipped over that altogether. When I to put together these show notes, I was like, okay, all the legendary vehicles, and they're all old. And I was like, well, that's fine, whatever. And they're just making a rule change for future. And then Rev was like, yeah, actually Spacecraft. And I was like, oh. So we added a few more things to talk about to the list. But basically what we wanted to do here was, talk about the fact that this change has happened, how that can affect various things. And then also, there are some parallels to other formats that are, to be fair, most of the formats in the game are fan-made, including CEDH, EDH, PDH, yada yada. But there are some parallels here, and I thought that was interesting. We may talk about that for a minute. And then we just wanted to do a quick overview of the various cards that are available and give our thoughts as to whether or not any of them are CEDH viable, because that's the lens that we tend to look through things. But before we get started, Rev, how are you doing? How's it been? Anything good to report? That sort of thing.
Doing well.
Good to hear.
Some personal things. I don't think they're podcast notable.
That's fine. Got to keep some things to yourself.
Yeah, I gotta remain a little bit mysterious to the viewers.
Perfect. Well, overall, good health. Got a new place. I know all that. That's cool. Congratulations on all that. It was maybe roughly around the same time we were about to go on hiatus, which was obviously unplanned,
I think it was around that. Yeah, I think we had like 1 or 2 games, and then we had the hiatus after I moved. But I'm all settled in here now. So
yeah. Speaking of the hiatus, I already kind of sort of explained it, but basically had some issues with my living situation and needed a change, and it took a lot longer than expected because I just had to finagle finances and then secure a new place, and then in between there was some hotel hopping and whatnot, which cost way too much money, and I hate that. But we had to do what we had to do. But we're in a new spot. You should be able to tell the decor is similar, but looks probably different because that used to be probably, another 10 feet back instead of where it's at. But yeah, I mean, I'm cool with the new place. We're pretty well settled in, mostly unpacked. I mean, it always takes a couple months to get those last couple boxes undone, but we're getting there. Got new internet, got everything set up, and we've been back at it for a couple weeks now. So hoping to keep the stream, the streak going, and provide you guys with some more content. I'm also working on some PDH stuff on the side as well, because that is still another focal point of mine, and we hope to keep that going. But so, what do you think, if any, the impact of these new available commanders are going to be? Do you think this will shake up meta at all? Anything that's worth? Obviously, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that, but just a general. Do you think this is going to change anything, or is it kind of just more par for the course?
I don't think it's going to change much. The fact that a lot of the vehicles are colorless, and 2 of the legendary stations are colorless. I don't see colorless getting a lot of play in CDH. There's like 1 or 2 fringe decks, like I built Liberator. That was one of them.
And that actually seemed pretty decent, but
I mean, I feel like I could add one of the cards, or maybe 2 of the cards to Liberator.
Mm-hmm.
They might be an okay addition. They might be the other stations, not the legendary ones. So it's a bit off topic from what we're covering, but seem playable. But as for the legendary ones, I don't see a lot of that. The fact that the crew or station takes so much other setup, I feel is going to be a big hindrance to the speed of CDH. So I don't see it doing too much.
I mean, we don't really see vehicles in CDH as it is, even in the 99. There have been some edge cases where, like, there might be 8. It's kind of the same thing with Planeswalkers and other kind of ancillary cards, for lack of a better term, because, like, they're part of the game, but you have to remember that cards are designed for Standard, for Draft, or aka Limited, and then they do design for Commander because they support that, and they do design for Pauper as well because that's a 60-card format, and then that thereby kind of affects Pauper's EDH as well. But for the most part, like, there's one deck in particular I'm thinking of, and like literally none of these cards are playable in it because they're not commons. But I run a Pauper deck for Glaring Fleshricker, which is Eldrazi that like pings and creates Eldrazi spawns to give you more mana. It's kind of a storm deck, believe it or not, in Pauper, which doesn't seem like it would be a thing, but it can be. I could see where some of these cards would be good in that. And in fact, I'm running like I think 5 or 6 vehicles in that deck because they have high power toughness, but their crew is only 2, and my commander's power is 2. And it just so happens you don't really want to be attacking with it because it's kind of the engine. So you don't want to put it at risk, but if you crew it into something, who cares? So, like, great. But unfortunately, none of these fit into that. But yeah, like, I've found edge cases for vehicles in the past, but they're not necessarily, like, the thing to do. And I guess that kind of segues right into the next topic, which was there's a lot of other homebrewed community-made formats that have, in some cases gotten attention from Wizards themselves. EDH proper being the biggest example. They didn't acknowledge it for probably over 10 years while it existed, and then finally they did, and they started making the precons, and now they actually designed for it within standard sets, etc. And, we got Commander Legends 1 and 2, so like they've obviously accepted it as a format, and they know that it's their most popular and best-selling format as well. But there's other ones. The most recent that they actually recognized as a format is Oathbreaker, which is a variant of Commander, but it has different rules. I can't remember all of the individual things as far as life totals and commander damage and things like that, but it's basically you can have a Planeswalker in your command zone, and all Planeswalkers are legendary, so it could be any of them. And then you get a signature spell, and that spell stays in the command zone. When you cast it, it gets cast for its normal cost, but has the command tax, tacked on if you want to cast it again. Actually, I don't even know I think you can cast it more than once. It's been a while since I've played it, but that's the gist of it, is that you got a Planeswalker and a spell. Kind of like Partners, but it's not Partners. It's a little different. It breaks the rules a little bit, but you could build around your Planeswalker and the spell to make a cool deck.
Yeah, it's a Planeswalker and then the instant or sorcery, and then the additional rule for the additional casting is that if you want to cast your spell, you have to have your Planeswalker on the battlefield.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah. And it's a 60 card
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it plays in multiplayer just fine, but it's not. It's a little different, and there's an obvious parallel here in the sense of like it breaks the rules of what we think of in this sort of space. So another one that has been talked about sort of recently, it's within the last year. I saw a lot of buzz on Twitter about it. The person who created it called it Pilot, and it's basically a vehicle in the command zone. So that kind of ironically gets erased in a sense because, I mean, you can still play it as it is because it doesn't have to be a legendary vehicle, but them making these legendary vehicles legal kind of hurts that format, I think, a little bit. Either way, it's a vehicle plus a creature. And I think the vehicle doesn't matter on legendary or not, but I think you still have to have a legendary creature. So it's like a commander plus a vehicle kind of deal. And then, obviously, you cast it out. Usually, I would think you would pair it with a commander that could crew it, and then, you know, Bob's your uncle. It's got some other variants to the rules as well, but similar enough. And then another that I've heard of is called Pendragon, after Arthur Knights of the Round kind of thing. And it's a creature, a legendary creature with, I think, a legendary equipment, or it may just be a regular, doesn't matter creature and is a legendary equipment. I think it might be that. I would have to look it up, but it's still that sort of rule-breaking creature and equipment. Having something else with partner without having partner. And I've done it too with other people, and I'm not sure if it's there's like a official format for it, but there's lots of people who've done rule break things where they're like, I just want to pick 2 legendaries and pretend they have partner, and then play like that. So, you know, people have been experimenting with this kind of stuff for a long time. It's just interesting to see Wizards, you know, making their own kind of thing as a change, but then also, you know, how they've accepted some of these other formats. So there's a lot of cool shit out there if you look around, for sure.
Most of them are new to me.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of them, and I've played some of them because it's just content. We played Oathbreaker on the channel once, and I played it a couple times on other people's streams, but it was short-lived. Like, it's cool, but it's not, like, my cup of tea. Like, most of the Planeswalkers are kind of boring, in my opinion, outside of the ones that are already, like, CDH viable and have that as can be your commander tag. With Pilot, I thought that was a cool idea, and low-key, I came up with the same sort of idea. I have receipts. Like, I have a Google Doc that me and Kirk talked about like a year before I saw this shit on Twitter, and I was like, why can't we do Oathbreaker, but like instead, like I called it Engineer, and I said, let's have a legendary creature, and then a vehicle, and then, you know, and I want to say I said something like, it had different hit points, and then different, life totals, and then different, you know, commander damage, etc. I think I said that the only way you could kill people with commander damage was with the vehicle to make it more interesting. And then I came up with some other different variables and whatever. But then I saw this getting posted, and I was like, well, that's basically my idea. But I never posted it anywhere, never talked about it, so nobody knows, and I could just be lying. But anyhow, I have receipts. They're dated. Like, it was at least a couple years ago at this point, but I think it's a cool idea. And the creature with equipment, I think that's also cool because, you know, it's like it's King Arthur with Excalibur. You know, it's a cool concept. Yeah. And if they had, you know, some of these creatures that have come out lately with like Final Fantasy and stuff, you could have Cloud with like the fucking Buster Sword. You know, I don't know if they made Buster Sword as a card, but if they did, that's a perfect Pendragon deck. There you go.
Pretty sure they did.
So anything like that with a tie-in is cool, but then you can also just go off the rails and do whatever you like. But I'm sure there are also, I mean, I know about tiny leaders and some other variants too. Like there's lots of things that exist out there. So people are always doing this kind of thing, but it's rare that Wizards goes out and says, we're just going to change this whole thing that's never been, because vehicles have been around since Kaladesh, like almost 10 years. I'm almost 100% sure they started with Kaladesh, because that's literally when I came back to playing Magic after a 15-year break.
Yeah, what? Heart of Kirin came out in Aether Revolt?
Yep, that's the set after Kaladesh. That's Aether Revolt was part of Kaladesh block. Sky Sovereign came out with Kaladesh, I think. That's the only ones I see that are from that era, because they're the only ones that are legendary. But like there was other stuff, like they called it like Looter Scooter or some shit. It was a like 2-drop artifact. When it attacked, you could discard a card and draw. Yeah, that was like all over the place back in the day. And that was when people didn't really know if vehicles were going to be worth it or not. And it was also confusing because it's like your creature, yep, there you go. you have the way crew works is kind of funky because it's like, as long as your vehicle doesn't have summoning sickness, it doesn't matter if your creature does. It can be tapped, or vice versa. It's weird. Like, you can tap things you normally shouldn't be able to tap to crew, even if they have summoning sickness, I believe, because it's the ability of the artifact that's tapping it, not itself. Something to that effect. So yeah, like, and those are things that like blew my mind at the time, because it was like, how are you doing that? That's not legal. And they're like, well, no, this is the way the rule works. So
Yep.
So with that, you should, at least at this point, hopefully be familiar with the way vehicles work, and sort of familiar with the spacecraft. That's still new to all of us, so we'll work around that as we go. But we basically pulled out all of the legendary options you can have right now that can be played as your commander. Now, granted, this can be played in EDH proper casual games, and a lot of these will probably be okay in casual settings, but you're also not limited to just playing these. As long as you're within the color identity, you can play some of them in the 99 as well if you really want to go vehicle focused. There are some commanders out there that did exist that kind of cared about vehicles too. They're few and far between, but that could also be some sort of concept. But as it is, we've got, I don't know how many here, probably about 20. We were just going to run through them and see, if there's any sort of, I mean, obviously we'll be able to recognize right away if they're casual or more competitively, or maybe have some potential, maybe just fringe. But we just thought it was something worth talking about as a hot button topic right now. And then also, we're in the middle process of brewing. I think Kirk's already got a couple decks. You said you had one. You're working on another. I'm working on a couple. Yep. There you go. So we are planning on doing some vehicles as commanders as close to CEDH as possible for our upcoming stream on Tuesday, which is maybe before or after when this releases, I'm not sure. So I guess without any further ado, let's jump into the list. If you want to read that first one off, and I'll flash it up on the screen for everybody, and we can get it going.
Yeah, Dawnsire's Sunstar Dreadnought. It's a 5 mana, colorless. It has Station. Station is the spacecraft ability, so you can tap a creature, put charge counters equal to its power on the spacecraft. You can only do this as a sorcery. It becomes an artifact creature when it has 20 plus.
And that's going to differentiate between
different spacecraft. Yeah. Right. So this one reads that when it has 10 counters, whenever you attack, Dawnsire deals 100 damage up to one target creature or planeswalker. Note that this is not whenever the spacecraft attacks, it's whenever you attack, period. And then when you have 20 plus, it gains flying and it is a 20/20.
Notably, it's an artifact creature once you have the 20 plus, and that's going to be the same. That's the part that's going to differ per spacecraft.
The amount of counters is what differs, yeah.
Right.
I don't see this being useful. 5 mana.
I looked at it and said, this is absolute garbage. Why would you want to hit a creature for 100 damage? But then Rev thought of a cool old card that could actually combo well with this.
If you use Stuffy Doll in a casual setting with this, maybe it's like a 7. All right, what's the new bracket system? Maybe it's a 4.
I mean, 4 is still CDH essentially.
It's 2 card.
It's
combo,
fringish.
Maybe a 3-card combo. I don't know.
I guess it depends on whether or not one of these is a game changer. But I think this is probably still just a 3. Like you said at the beginning, a lot of these being colorless is going to be their downfall. However, in the 99. This might be cool in a casual. This is definitely cool in a 99 of a casual deck, because you're just going to be sitting around dirtling and you're just like, well, I now have 20. Who wants to take 20 to the face? So it could be interesting in that.
100 to damage, though. 100 damage and then 20 being punched.
I just hate the 100 damage to a creature or planeswalker. It's like, when will you ever... The only creature I can think of that would ever have that much life is either you got into an infinite combo and just put counters on something, or you had X on whatever for like a Finale of Devastation, which is probably not happening all that often in casual. But then it's like there's that one creature, it's like a Shield Bastion or some shit. It's got flash, it comes down, it blocks something. But it can't even block this. I think it has to block a combat damage like a creature, so that doesn't even work.
Well, the only good thing I can see about the Dawnsire, and this is casual, of course, is if you run equipment with it, you attach equipment to give it 21 power. And then you can swing out, you make your attack. It deals it does 100 damage to a creature, which is the blocker. And it has flying, so yeah. You're reducing people who have blockers.
I can see that. You don't even need to run equipment at that rate, because there's plenty of creatures that say, like, when this creature attacks, all creatures get +1/+0. And that's all you need.
I'm looking at it, though, as a
colorless. Yeah.
You'll at least have equipment with you.
Well, I can say, because like I was talking about earlier about like the glaring Freshwrecker, I don't know if that was recorded or if that was beforehand, but that being a colorless kind of creature, if this was something that could fit into it, it would be great. Like I could see this as applicable in certain decks in the 99, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, this is just kind of, it's a dumb, fun, flashy beater, and that's why it's a mythic, and CDH stinker. Everywhere else, maybe you'll find a place for it. So moving on, I'll read this next one. It's Hearthhull the World Seed. This is 1 and Jund, so black, red, green. It's a 6/7 spacecraft. It has station 8, so you gotta get to 8+ to make it that 6/7. At 2+, it has pay 1 generic, tap, sack a land, draw 2 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. Very, very Jund. Sack a land, draw some cards, play another land. It feels a lot like what's Joey's deck? Windgrace?
Windgrace, yeah.
Yeah, it has that feel to it.
Windgrace.
Right. And then at 8+, it gets flying, vigilant, and haste. It's a 6/7. And whenever you sack a land, each opponent loses 2 life. So if you happen to do your little draw some cards and whatever, that you're going to pinging people out. Flying, vigilance, and haste. I don't understand why it has haste because I guess when you drop it, if you already got 8+ power on the board, that's a good reason, but seems kind of unlikely, but I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, you could probably have some mana dorks out, maybe a goblin that makes goblins, and then bam, you got it. But I like the fact that it has a draw engine right on it, and then it has the land shenanigans, which could be cool. You could also probably potentially do exactly what Joey does in that deck, and I'd be curious to see if you could just slot this into Joey's Windgrace deck and if it would just work. Because that already runs a bunch of lands, and like you wouldn't care about sacking mountains to draw cards, and then you play another land. And
I actually see that there could be a combo with this.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Scape Shift.
Because you have to sack all your lands, right? And then you bring the ones back from the grave or something like that?
Library.
I
think there's another one that gives it from the grave, but library onto the battlefield. I mean,
just having to sack all your lands, if you got 10 lands, that's 20 life. That's a pretty big dome. And then you get them back because you got that many.
6/7.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one feels like it has some CDH potential. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be good, but again,
99.
I would be curious, literally, to see Joey just swap this in for Lord Windgrace and just play that deck and see what happens, because it's literally the same kind of shell. It's doing the land.
I'd have to look at the Windgrace deck to see. But
well, Windgrace has the ability to like sack a land and draw 2 cards, so it feels very similar. It also costs like I think 1 or 2. I think Windgrace is 5, maybe 6. So I think it's 5. So it costs a little bit less. It's not a planeswalker, so it's less vulnerable because it can't be attacked right away.
I think this could be a CDH card. I mean, there's a few cards that you could slot in to this deck, which would untap it, so you could do this over and over again.
Yeah, and just draw through your deck. And then at the end, do the mana bomb thing.
Play more lands. Yeah, because the activated ability is sacrifice a land, draw 2 cards. You may play an additional land this turn. That's part of its activation. So you can play multiple lands if you can untap this.
Yeah. I don't know. There are a couple green creature untappers. I'm not sure about. I don't think there are any in the other 2 colors.
Well, but that might be all you need. Yeah, I'm looking at it like one of Joey's decks has the Ashaya combo where you can untap lands.
Mm-hmm.
If you could turn this into a creature and a land with Ashaya.
That might be too much setup, but
I mean,
I don't know.
It might be a little bit, but there's a few different things on
being able to fall back on it to be just a big ass beater though that's doing commander damage. You only need 4 hits to kill someone.
Yeah, 4 hits, and it has vigilance, so it's always going to be a blocker.
Exactly.
Well, you can hit and then you can tap it afterwards because it's vigilance.
Right.
So you're getting the damage and you're drawing your cards, and it's not stopped by do this only at sorcery speed, so you can draw 2 cards. I
know that's
draw 2 cards.
Yeah, I know that's his one of his pet decks from way back, but literally I want to play his list with this. Like if he wanted to be lazy for the stream, he could literally just swap this over, swap Windgrace out, play the deck, and I think it would work just fine.
All right, time to message Joey about that.
Yeah, for sure. Hearthhole, the World Seed. Next one should be the Infinite Guideline.
Yep. Infinite Guideline Station. Wooburg. Station 12. When Infinite Guideline Station enters, create a tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token for each multicolored permanent you control. At 12 plus, it has flying, is a 7/15. It's an odd number. Whenever Infinite Guideline Station attacks, draw a card for each multicolored permanent you control.
So I immediately see an issue with this, and that's that 90% of the CDH staples are monocolored. That doesn't mean you couldn't make exceptions and add more multicolored stuff in, but that just seems to be the way it is in the format currently. But if you do build around that, you're going to get a bunch of tokens right away to automatically crew this thing, and then it doesn't have haste, though. That's the only thing that's kind of shitty. If it had haste, you could potentially set up to where you play this thing for Wooburg, and you can cheat shit, like, if you have the Gauntlet or a couple other cards that can do the same sort of thing. Right. There's ways where you could potentially get this thing out at a relatively early turn, like, say, hopefully 3 or 4, if you can get to your colors. Drop this, and then make enough robots to immediately station it, and then you'd be able to dome people and draw a bunch more cards. Like, that's a perfect world. And this thing needed haste. But even without that, I like playing in Wooburg, but, like, having to force yourself to play a bunch of multiplayer permanents.
This is a good casual card, for sure.
This is something you play like Doran and Arcades and all of those things that make it hit with its butt.
The 5-color Niv Mizzet.
T-Mat's one. I mean, Joda. Both Jodas. Golos, if he could ever get unbanned.
Unbanned, yeah. This is definitely a casual card, I think.
I think the only way it has any sort of potential is to be able to build it in a way that where you still have all of your good staples, but can fit in just enough multicolored cards to where it makes a difference. And that kind of feels like a build around like Captain Sisse, not Captain, Sisse Weatherlight Captain, the 5-color one. She kind of requires you to build in a certain way to get her steps, to get her where you want to be. This feels like that, but like with more steps.
And it's only drawing cards.
Well, I mean, drawing cards is what you want to do, right? But
yeah, but I feel like even if you get this out there, you're drawing maybe like 2 or 3 cards.
Well, the point I was getting, you're not, though. If you get this out, if you don't have 12 power on the board, you're not doing shit except for adding some tokens to the board, which is kind of shit. Yeah. But if you could build it in just the right way, and I think that's where it becomes casual. It's because you have to build it that way for it to actually work. And then at that point, I actually might put this in Joda because I do have a lot of multicolored shit in that list. And I could play it for free with Joda. It just comes down, and then you maybe get, if you can play this for free and just get free tokens, and then oops, it's a 7/15 that flies. I think this is that sells me on it. It's a casual card.
I was going to say, how about the new Joda?
So new Joda, I am not as familiar with. I play him in the 99 of old Joda, but I've literally never cast him because I barely play casual. I forget his wording.
Yeah, the unifier.
Mm-hmm.
Legendary creatures you control get +X/+X. And then when you cast a legendary spell, you exile from top until you hit a legendary.
So this doesn't ever say anything about it becoming a creature.
Per station in the reminder text is...
it says it's an artifact creature. Okay, that's what I was getting to. Okay. So then, once it's a creature, then that might... But it's not a creature in the library, so I don't think it does anything.
No, that part doesn't matter. It's whenever you cast legendary spells with the Joda. Do that. Okay. So it's a legendary spell to get off.
I can see this in my Joda list just as a nice little casual beater, but yeah, it's definitely not strong enough. Being in Wooburg, you can literally just play this, and you can still play all of the popular win cons. You still have Silence, you still have Veil of Summer, you have all of the counter spells, you have all the removal. So you could literally play this as any Wooburg shell that you have, you could slap this on, and it would probably still be competitive, but it's just not going to be as good. Moving on, next one is a Jeskai Spacecraft. It's in Spirit flagship vessel. It has station at 8+. At 1+, beginning of combat on your turn, put your choice of a 1 or 2 charge counters on up to one other artifact. But then at 8+, it gets flying, becomes a 5/5 creature, and other artifacts you control have hexproof and indestructible. That could be good, particularly because a lot of the Jeskai decks are doing top shenanigans. Like if you think of Elsha, you're doing top shenanigans, and now your top can't get destroyed. But it's just artifacts. So, unless you're doing something with an artifact win con, that's probably not that important. Outside of just nobody can blow up your shit incidentally. And it doesn't even count itself. So, as soon as you blow it up, it's kind of like Sigarda, where it just applied the hexproof to everything else, and well, this thing gets blown up, and then everything goes wrong.
I see some use for this in charge counter decks because there's a lot of artifacts and stuff that use charge counters.
That's what I was saying. I just couldn't think of anything off the top of my head that's
Aether Vial.
Busted.
So Aether Vial is one of the ones I'm looking at. Aether Vial is when you tap it, you put creature equal with equal mana value with charge counters from your hand onto the battlefield, so you can cheat things out that way.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Another one to be used in this deck is Adaptive Training Post. Pretty sure no one's ever actually used this card. So it's an artifact, 2 and a blue. Whenever you cast instant sorceries, you put a charge counter on it if it has fewer than 3 charge counters on it. And then you can remove 3 charge counters, and the next time you cast an instant sorcery, you can copy it.
All right. And wasn't there one from a ways back that would, if you had enough charge counters, you could take an extra turn or something? I feel like there was something like that, but I could be wrong.
Check that. The GTAs use charge counters.
Oh, yeah. It was always GTA is actually a card that gets played here and there.
I mean, we don't see them too much in CEDH, but Astral Cornucopia uses charge counters.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Everflowing Chalice does. Jeweled Amulet uses charge counters.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Jeweled Amulet has seen play in CDH. It's not as good. I think it actually probably came back a little bit because of mana curve getting cut. Because it is kind of like a take a turn off kind of thing, but if you can add counters to it and have more mana from it, that kind of makes it pretty good.
Sunburst is a charge counter. So any cards with Sunburst, I don't think we ever use Sunburst.
Nope. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of support there, but it also is a choice. 1/1 counter or 2 on an artifact. So if you have any artifact creatures, you can buff them up. You can do other vehicles as well that just really aren't anything, but then all of a sudden you crew them and they're huge. I think the 8+ is probably a little bit better in the sense of you're going to give all of your artifacts. This almost lends itself to being an artifact heavy deck, but then it's Jeskai, so you also have Breach and Brain Freeze and your silence effects and things. So it would just be finding a balance. I don't think as a commander it's competitive enough. It's probably still casual. In the 99, maybe considered just to give something that's an important combo piece. Hexproof and Indestructible might be a thing. It at least eats a piece of removal to get rid of this. I'm not that impressed. We'll say that.
No. The next one we're looking at is actually a weird one. It's called the Eternity Elevator. It's 5 colorless to use, so it is colorless. It's a legendary artifact spacecraft. It has station, but it has no power or toughness. It does not become a creature. The fact that this is a legendary artifact spacecraft, so can be played as a commander, but is not a creature, I don't know how they're going to rule that. So this one may be a...
This may be errated, or maybe...
This might be errated. Yeah. When they clarify it, they might say that has to be able to become a creature to become your commander.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you tap it to add 3 colorless mana. It's a 5-drop, you add 3 colorless. Cool, it's an expensive mana rock.
Bad rate.
But when you station it, if it has 20 plus counters on it, you can tap it, add X mana of any one color, where X is the amount of counters. So tap, add 20 mana.
So this is a really good mana battery in a deck that wants a big amount of one color of mana. If you're in a 5-color deck, this isn't doing shit for you. This is definitely not good enough to be the commander. The one thing that I didn't think about, or I don't know if we put into words, as you said before, the station counters get added and they stay. We were thinking of scenarios where it's okay, can we actually get to 20 in one turn? But you don't have to. You could literally play this on turn 2 because you dropped a gemstone.
Mana Vault. Something
right.
else.
I was thinking gemstone, land, a mana vault, and something else. You could probably get this out turn 1, maybe turn 2, and then it also adds mana. And it's not a creature, so you can tap it immediately, which is nice. So it's basically an expensive mana dork in the command zone that can potentially make you a lot of mana later, but in the command zone, it's only going to be colorless, so that's kind of a weakness. So in that sense, I think it's better as just a plain Jane. I mean, I could see this in the Joda list again, because it's just when I get it to 20 plus, because I got a lot of big fatties in there that I might cast for free, in a couple turns, all of a sudden I tap this and add, 20 green mana and finale for 20, pull out my biggest fatty, and then everything has haste and you just win the game. So I could see this in some scenarios as I need to pull my Joda list up because I'm watching these cards that I want to add to it. But it's kind of weird.
Useful as a in the 99 for sure. one of the things I was looking at with the Eternity Elevator is the 99 is in the new deck Vivi. Vivi wants to use a lot of colored mana in Storming.
Right.
Being able to add this, I mean, Vivi himself grows constantly, so he can probably station it in 2 turns if you get a good Storm turn up.
Right, yeah. I didn't think about that. Okay.
I think I'm going to add this into my Liberator deck, though.
I see it as being a really cool, like, dumb thing in Joda because, like I said, I could potentially cast it for free, and then it just adds mana immediately, so I'm getting my mana back. Yep. And then on top of that, at some point, I could just huge finale or just make a bunch of fucking mana and just spend it. I don't know. Like, there'll probably be some other things that I can find on top of that.
Think of all the mana you could spend off that tap ability with the mana and throwing down a Walking Ballista.
That too. Any deck that runs a Walking Ballista could potentially have this.
Sure, Helioid could use it. Mono White needs help.
True. All right, so we're coming up to the last, at least, of what's been spoiled so far. Keep in mind, the new set isn't out yet, and all of the spacecraft are coming out in that set, and we haven't seen all the spoilers yet. So there are potentially a few more of these that may come down the pipeline. This next one is the Sarima? I don't know.
Something like that.
It's 1 and 2 white. When it enters, you search your library for a legendary creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. It has Station, 7+, becomes a 5/5 flyer, and other tapped legendary creatures you control have indestructible. So, I guess, if this comes down and you can tap some legendary creatures to station it, then all of a sudden they are now indestructible, which is kind of cool. Anytime they attack, they're indestructible. If you have this in, like, say, Joey's Captain Sisay, every time you tap her to tutor for something, now she's indestructible. That's kind of cool. And there's lots of stuff that has tap abilities in our format. So, and then just being able to search up a legendary, yeah, you have to reveal it, but I mean,
you have to do that for white tutors anyways.
I mean, the next closest thing to this is like Search for Glory, which is a 3-mana sorcery that allows you to search for a legendary permanent or a snow land or snow permanent or something else I don't recall. And the only decks that I run that in are where like those things matter because you only have access to that. If you're not in black, you don't have the good tutors. So yeah, a 3-mana tutor for a legendary is not bad. And then just having this extra stuff tagged on, I literally could see this just replacing Search for Glory in pretty much any of those decks. The only thing Search for Glory has going for it is modal, to where you can get a snow land if you're really fucked off and you got 3 mana.
I feel like this could be useful as a 99. A 99 100% as a commander. Can you do anything? I guess you could use Ephemerate and stuff on it.
You definitely have white flickers.
I guess you could run it with Cloudstone and bounce it back to your hand and recast it, and then you get multiple tutors turn over turn.
But like, how many legendary creatures are you running? I mean, yeah, sure. Okay, so you're getting out some Elish Norns.
Oh, I'm thinking of stuff like Boromir.
I was thinking of stuff like Elish Norn. Like, go tutor up this Elish Norn, and then now you've got this big fuck off creature, and you can do things with it. But that also is being revealed. Not that it wouldn't be anyway, but it's being revealed, so people are going to potentially try to counter it or whatever. Yeah. So
I'm thinking more along the lines of Helioid, but why aren't you just running him as the commander then? Or Boromir. The problem is white doesn't have good amount of good cards.
White has a lot of good support cards, for sure. The closest one-to-one you have with this is Search for Glory. And in the case of that, you're probably going to just run both of them. This is just an additional tutor if you have a legendary target that you actually can use this for. And then it's just, I can tutor up that Boromir, so I have, that sort of protection. Or I can tutor up Elish Norn because I'm at the late game and this is going to be a finisher. But outside of that, I don't know.
It might be an okay Sax deck card because you can get like Myrel.
I mean, yeah, this would probably go well in my Giada deck because it's just another tutor for a piece that might help you. But yeah, I would never play this as a commander. That's for sure.
You know what? There's a good combo here you can run with it.
What's that?
It's 5 mana. It's somewhat pricey, but if you run this card as your commander, cast it, ETBs, you'll find Felia, the Exuberant Shepherd. It's the dog. It comes in whenever it attacks, you exile one other target non-land permanent and bring it back at the end step. So you can just tutor this at the end step. You get multiple tutors every end step of your end step that you attack with it.
Okay, I don't hate that.
And if you actually do get it up to the station status of being a creature, tap creatures become indestructible. Philia becomes indestructible. when it taps, so it attacks, flashes it. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I could see a way of using that.
I like it in the 99 of like a couple decks that might run the Search for Glory as an additional tutor. Yeah. Or just mono white having an additional tutor is good, because most tutors are for enchantments or artifacts. So you got that covered. And Search for Glory is like one of, like, there's Thalia's Lancers, which if you're going to go that hard on this, maybe you run that too. But yeah, there's only so many cards that tutor for things besides artifacts and enchantments in mono white. So I can see this as being a good tool in the 99 for some decks. It's very selective, and like not a lot of people play mono white. I don't know, maybe Teshar, but I don't think that he's running any of the legendary creatures.
Who's that guy that used to be on? He used to do YouTube stuff as well. The mono white guy,
Charles.
I'm sure he can build something with this that will work really well.
Yeah, I mean, he did that dragon that everybody thought was trash, and he actually did go with it.
Yeah,
so it's possible. Well, that concludes the new spoiled cards that are Spacecraft, and we don't know if there's going to be more, but we can now move into the last dozen or so that are older sets that had legendary artifacts. Some of these are uncommons, so some of them are not very good. Actually, the majority of these are not very good, but there are a couple that we might have something to say about. But I'll just read off this first one real quick.
Run through these ones real quick, yeah.
They shouldn't take very long, because most of these are just not good. But first one up is Adrestia. This is from the Assassin's Creed set. It's 3 colorless. It's a 4/3. It has Island Walk, and whenever it attacks, if an assassin crewed it, you draw a card. And it becomes an assassin in addition to the other types until end of turn. There are decks where it becoming an assassin would matter, but they're colored, and you would that'll never matter with this if it's your commander. Also, I don't think there's any colorless assassins, so this literally does nothing except for it's a crew 1, which is nice. Any fucking 1-drop thing that's a 1/1 will crew this. So you get a 4/3 unblockable if you attack the blue player.
Changelings, maybe. There's some colorless ones, but
not enough to make this a thing. And so you might draw 1 or 2 cards off of this thing, and it becoming an assassin is never going to matter. So it's literally just a 4/3 unblockable that crews for 1 if you hit a blue player. I think that's all that needs to be said.
Next one, Bessie, the Doctor's Roadster.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who said 2 colorless to cast it. It has haste. Whenever Bessie attacks, another target legendary creature can't be blocked this turn. Crew 2, and it's a 3/4. No, I don't see this being played.
The floor of it is it's a crew 2 3/4 haste for 2 mana, which is actually a very good rate. And if it was like a creature, or if it had some colors, we might actually consider this not for commander, but in the 99 somewhere. As it is now, okay, cool, you can make a legendary creature unblocked. But if this is your commander, you're probably not playing any other legendary creatures. I mean, there are legendary. I guess you could use all the Eldrazi in this and make them unblockable.
Unblockable annihilators, sure.
I mean, okay, so that sells me on it. But, like, in the most memeiest, fringiest garbage deck possible. If you slotted this in as, like, your commander in case of Liberator, like, and then just slammed in all the top-end fucking colorless shit, like, would it work? Maybe.
No.
But
God, no.
Probably not.
Liberators do good.
Exactly. So I don't see this seeing play, but, you know, casual people might fuck around with it, and they'll find out. This one I'm actually kind of interested in. I'm thinking about building it for the stream. It's one that I'm kind of working on. Only because when I first started playing, when Magic Arena came out, I played this a lot in Standard, and it was a pretty busted card in Standard. I don't think it's going to be busted in CEDH, especially because Mono Green is not in the greatest spot right now, but it's a Seeka's Chariot. It's 3 and a green. When it ETBs, regardless of crew or anything, it makes 2/2 green cat creature tokens. And whenever Seeka's Chariot attacks, you create a token that's a copy of target token you control. It has crew 4, and it's a 4/4. So the idea here is you play it, you wait a turn, you crew it with the 2 cats, and you just swing with a 4/4. In Standard, that's great. In EDH, not so much. But that line of text that says create a copy of target token you control is kind of important, because not only are there other ways to make tokens, so, you know, maybe your cats get killed, so you have to copy something else, or you have something bigger, because, you know, there's tree folk and some other things that make bigger tokens, but it also does not specify that it has to be a creature token. So you can copy foods, you can copy treasures, clues, blah, 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 you name it. Or if you just happen to be able to have some kind of spell, I don't think it exists in mono green, but if you had a card that said, create a token copy of X thing, you could make more of those. It reminds me of Populate and some of the other decks that are kind of like that. But again, it's mono green, so that's not the greatest start. But I just feel like this thing could overrun a table, especially in a pre-constructed pod of other vehicle decks. Like, I think this thing has some legs. When it comes to playing at a table with, Timnatanas or Timna Thrasios or Blue Farm or any of that shit, this isn't doing anything. And this is not competitive. This is strictly casual. But for the fun of playing it on a stream against other janky decks, I think it could have some potential. And I'm going to try and see if I can figure it out.
I mean, let's hope you run parallel lives and doubling season it.
Right? I mean, that is what you got to do. And I think green tokens isn't a bad strategy. I just don't think that if any of you are playing anything that has a fast combo, this just loses to it. But, I'm used to playing the janky shit decks sometimes, and that's how it goes.
You know what? I feel like this could be good. I'm looking at Jaheira.
Yeah.
A friend of the forest. Tokens become tap to add green. Also should be noted that Scoot Swarm's obviously good for overrunning opponents.
I think Scoot Swarm is definitely an ad.
Throw down a Triumph of the Hordes.
or Crater Hoof, yep.
I was going to look at Slime Against Humanity as a casual way to play this.
Slimes could work too, because you can make the token copies. I think to make Slimes good, you have to run like 20 plus copies, so that's just cutting into everything else you might be able to do. But I can consider either one. I think that covers that one.
Next one we're looking at is Golden Argosy. 4-drop. It's a 3/6. Whenever it attacks, exile each creature that crewed it this turn. Return them to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Crew 1.
It's literally only good. I mean, you have the option to crew, notably, more than what the crew cost is. But unless you got a lot of cool ETBs, which are not on color. Yeah, exactly. So this
Eldrazi's?
Some of the Titans have ETB effects. I mean, if you can crew this with fucking the Emrakul is legal and then flicker it and then take another turn and then another turn and just steal everybody's turns. But pretty much, I mean, I think we should just disclaimer at this point. All the colorless ones are not good as commanders, and the majority of them aren't even good in the 99.
There's a way to get around this. I mean, I'm sure there is a jank way to build a solid 3 bracketed deck with this. I could see this also being used in the 99 for something, maybe Magda or something.
But what are you flickering in Magda that you care about? You're just trying to find your artifact dwarf and go off.
You're flickering Magda and the other dwarves so you can recrew them and make more treasure tokens.
Sure, but is it worth the cost? I'm good to move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Next one is from Lord of the Rings. I didn't even realize they had vehicles in Lord of the Rings because we just don't pay attention to this shit. So this is Grond the Gatebreaker. It's 3 and a black. It has trample. As long as it's your turn and you control an army, which is the orc armies mostly. But they have zombie armies from the old, what's it called? The desert set. After Kaladesh.
There's one from the set with Rowan in it.
Oh, the Strixhaven? So as long as you control an army, then it is an artifact creature. So it does get around the crew cost. If it's your turn and you have an army, you can attack with this guy. But it's a 3/3 and it has crew 3. So, I'm sorry, crew 3 with 5/5. 5/5 Trampler, decent. Crew 3 isn't bad. And if you have an army because you're playing Bowmasters, yeah. But like, what's the chances that you get this and Bowmasters out at the same time? And then, okay, cool. Now you can just swing. It doesn't do enough.
It's also a 5/5 Trampler. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's not doing anything. And for 4 mana, it's just not doing anything. This is not a good commander, and I don't see it as being a good 99 card either.
No, God, no, it's awful. Next one, the Heart of Kirin.
I loved this card when it came out.
Yep, 2-drop, Carless, Flying Vigilance, crew 3. You may remove a loyalty counter from a planeswalker to crew rather than pay its crew cost, and it's a 4/4. Same problem with the Grond. It doesn't do much. It doesn't do anything, really.
A Flying Vigi beater that you could crew for loyalty is dope. So I could see this, like, this card, it's not being played, but like if you're playing a planeswalker that actually sees play, like a Grist or something else, where you're just like, or something where it's mostly pluses and you just have an extra amount of counters, or somehow to add extra counters because that exists, where you can just pop that off and crew this for free. A Flying Vigi 4/4 beater for 2 that you basically crew for free. That's not bad. But I mean, this card's been around for ages and nobody plays it, so it's not doing anything for you as a commander because it's colorless. Ugin is like the only colorless planeswalker. The couple Ugins. Oh, and on Karn, yeah. So yeah, you got like a couple planeswalker options where maybe you can make this thing do its thing, but yeah, it's not good enough. And in the 99, it's really not good enough either.
Next one is Jackdaw, 1 blue-red. Whenever Jackdaw deals combat damage to a player, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each artifact you control. Crew 3, and it's a 4/4. This is one of the ones that I'm building around for the stream.
It's wheelie, and you're in the colors for wheels.
I love wheels.
It really needs Hull Breacher because it's a pirate ship, and because it's a wheel deck. Like, that would make it so much better.
The biggest problem I found is not finding enough artifacts in my draws.
Yeah, this is clearly a build around. It's replacing your Joyra kind of eggs deck where you're just dumping cheap artifacts out so that whenever you decide to attack with this guy...
I'm looking at artifact creatures.
That too. To crew.
Yeah.
Right.
So a lot of artifact creatures that are good.
Yeah.
But you're just drawing through your deck.
And then I'd assume do some breach stuff to finish it out.
I mean, there's breach, there's Thassa's Oracle. You can just draw through your deck until you get Thassa's. And when building a deck, I haven't put it in yet, but I was considering putting in multiple combat steps. That
could be a thing too. Yeah. I mean, this screams Rev jank for sure, but at the same time, feels like it has a solid foundation because you can have your regular wheels to draw through your deck, and then you also have this wheel on a stick, and it's only 3 mana, so it's not like it's expensive.
No,
and nobody's removing this.
Nobody's gonna. Well, you never know.
I mean, if you prove that it's pretty good, then maybe we start removing it. But
the problem is it's a 4/4 with no
evasion.
Evasion. I'm adding this to my deck right now. I'm going to throw in... The hell's that card called, Izlain? Please help me out here. It's an artifact, the equipment, it's a sword.
Embercleave?
Sword. Embercleave. I feel like Embercleave is going to go hard in this deck.
Look at me being rusty as fuck and getting that right off the bat with no clues. You're like, it's a sword? I'm like, Embercleave?
Yep, that one.
You could also run fire and ice. You can run fire and ice, too. I mean, it's thematic.
Ice, yeah.
From what you're saying, I see the potential. It's just a matter of pouring through the cards and finding the right stuff. You're going to have to find some jank, too, because I'm sure there's some janky shit that nobody's ever played before that's just, like, perfect for the deck.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as a way to get Electro Duplication into the bin while I have Dual Caster in hand.
I mean,
I got to find another combat step.
I mean, you can do Dual Caster Twin Flame, and you could also be doing Kiki Jiki shit. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways.
Regular red-blue stuff that you do, and then you can cycle through and find it.
Next one is one I'm actually considering building as well. It's just 8 mana. It's just crazy. It's Parhelion 2. This one came out a long time ago. It's 6 and 2 white. It's flying first strike Vigi. Whenever it attacks, you create 2 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance that are attacking, so they don't even come in tapped. So for 8 mana, you could put 13 damage on board. It also has crew 4, which, so, obviously the first time it attacks, you have to crew it with something. And then, you put out that damage. You can swing them all at different people, so you can spread the damage around, yada, yada. It being mono white, it's rough. I've built several mono white decks, and they just always have holes and weaknesses. But there's things that have come out that keep making white a little bit better. I've always liked mono white. It's just hard. And like you said earlier, if Charles, the mono white guy, could probably make this into a commander that everybody liked. But I have fond memories of playing in an arena with Greasefang and just cheating it in and going ham, and people would just basically one swing with this, they take the 13 damage and then they just concede, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
but it's obviously not good. But I was just looking at it like, okay, white makes a fuck ton of tokens in all different shapes and forms. So like getting this guy crewed is not hard. It's just a matter of getting him out. And white doesn't have. It does have some catch up mechanics to help you ramp, but like, I don't know. If you're running Trouble in Pairs and like you're going to run your Archies, your Espers, and other things that are drawing you cards, yeah, it's still very casual. I just like the card, but yeah, it's not great for CDH, and it's not new. So 99 discussions have already happened. What's next?
I think we should pause on the next one just to point out we're not going to be covering Shorkai. Shorkai is already a great commander. So the next one is the RMS Titanic, 3 and a red. Once again, a Doctor Who card. It's a 7/1. Flying Trample. When RMS Titanic deals combat damage to a player. Sacrifice it. Create that many treasure tokens. Mind you, it is not a May ability. It is you have to sacrifice it, and it has crew 3.
Yeah, that's rough.
I think these cards kind of
dog shit.
Yeah, it's not complete dog shit. I can see it being used
in the 99
of one deck in
Magda. Yeah, and Magda, I'm pretty sure Magda is not playing it, so that means that discussion already happened a long time ago.
But I could see someone using it just because. Oh, there you go. 7 tokens.
Yeah, and I guess we should also note we were covering these as commanders because that's the whole topic of the show. Our commentary about the potential of the 99 with these older cards is a little silly, but you may have never seen one of these cards. I literally didn't know that Lord of the Rings one existed because I literally skipped over it. So additional commentary again, it's just so that if you've never seen it before, you can maybe think about where you might fit it. But
it avoids creature removal until you need to crew it as well.
This next one is another older one. I think came out initially. This one actually came out in Kaladesh. So this is one of the OG vehicles. It's Sky Sovereign console flagship. It's 5 colorless. So again, biggest weakness, it's a colorless commander. It has flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Has crew 3, and it's a 6/5. I've actually played this index before in CDH, only because it coming down and doing 3 damage can sometimes kill the thing that's fucking you, like a Dranith. And then it also does that repeated damage every time you attack. So being able to just bolt something every time you attack with this thing, and it's only 5 mana, not that big of an investment, because by the time you have 5 mana, you probably already have 3 power on the board, or your commander's 3 power, or whatever. And if your commander's only 3 power and has other utility, you can use it to crew this guy, and only have the utility up when you need it, whatever. As a commander, it has that built-in removal, which colorless lacks a bit of, but at the same time, just it's not good enough. This is definitely a 99 card, and it's mostly casual.
So the fact that it only deals 3 damage to creature or planeswalker is the problem.
I know. I wish it bolted face
to any target. Then 100% I could see a way to play this. Yeah. I would consider it in the 99 of Liberator, just because he gives things flash.
Yeah. Flash it in to bolt something that's stopping you from doing what you want to do. This next one, I think Kirk might have built.
Yes. Yeah. The Belligerent. 2, a blue and a red. It's a 5/5. Whenever the Belligerent attacks, create a treasure token. Until the end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Crew 3. Solid.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 mana to get it out, and you have to have 3 power on the board to crew it, and it doesn't have haste, so you have to be able to get it out and then wait a turn to then actually get this ability. But immediately you're getting some mana investment returned to you. And being able to look at the top card of your library, like, it's the kind of thing where you draw a card, you immediately go to combat and just get that treasure, look at your top card, and then go, okay, there's a land there, play the land, and you can still look at your top card, and then you can cast spells, and hopefully you don't brick. I mean, it's not as good as a Bolas's Citadel or any other things that just let you go ham, but it's kind of a mini version of that, and Izzet colors are pretty good. Like you said, you still got the... we have the breach lines. You can still play Thassa's Oracle if you have a way to draw. This isn't really drawing through your deck, so you're probably not playing Thassa's, but
This is drawing through your deck if you're running top and some sort of artifact reducer.
Right. You can do the same shit that the other ones do.
Yeah. There's a bunch of creatures that give you reduced cost in artifacts, like Ethereum Sculptor or
Boundary Inspector. Yeah.
It's a combo piece in the command zone. And you will not have problems in this color identity to find artifacts in your deck with tutors.
You could essentially replace Elsha or Joyra and play the same kind of list.
This is almost like running a Mystic Forge in your command zone.
Yeah.
Which it's not bad.
You can't exile the thing to get past it, but...
Yes. But you can always play the land, which is one thing.
And you can also play Mystic Forge, and you can also play top in the deck. So you just got multiple ways to do the thing.
Would it be top table CDH? No.
So, got a few left. Next one here is the Falcon, Airship Restored. It's 2 and a black, has flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. This one is enforced. When you do, you can return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It also has 4 and a black. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, so it's repeatable recursion. And it only is crew 2, and it's a 4/3. with, flying. So it's got evasion. So for 3 mana, you get this thing down, you crew it for 2, which is going to be easy. Hit somebody for 4, and then if you care to, sack it to get your big, bad fucking whatever.
Broodlord.
I mean, yeah, it's basically another Entomb. It's more expensive and it takes more steps, but I mean, you're doing other things. Yeah, it's another Reanimator spell. And it's repeatable. Going to the grave is risky, but I mean, worst case, somebody exiles your grave, it just goes back in command zone, you try again later. This one is, I think, more viable than quite a few of them, but you're still in mono black, which is fine, but I mean, would you play this over Crick? Probably not, it's not as good as the established decks, but it also could be played in 99.
I quite like it.
Repeatable recursion is always good.
For a vehicle as a commander, I like it quite a lot. Yeah, I can see this being run with anything that literally hoarding Broodlord. Just hoarding Broodlord. There you go.
And you got that and Pier. The issue is I've only done hoarding Broodlord lines in 2+ color decks, so I'm not exactly sure what you're going for to win, but I know you can do like Tortured Existence loops, or you can do Persist loops. You can also do Mikaeus and Walking Ballista. So I mean, there's finishers for sure.
There's what's it called? I have it built into one of my decks, and it's a more recently built deck, and I'm just trying to remind myself what it is. But it has the Gravecrawler loop with that
Phyrexian Altar works. Oh, the goblin thing that sacrifices.
Yeah, the goblin.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's a way to build like an 8-card combo loop that just needs this and hoarding Broodlord in the bin.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's almost like a Hulk pile or whatever.
Exactly.
I think the main distinction here is like if you're playing in a meta where like everybody agrees to play like jankier decks or this kind of things, it's probably going to be okay. But like I said earlier, why would you play this over like Crick if you had the choice? And if you're trying to play in a tournament, like you're not going to break this. So this next one, I believe Kirk also built.
Yep, the Indomitable 2 and 2 blue trample. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Crew 3. You may cast the Indomitable from your graveyard as long as you control 3 or more tapped pirates and/or vehicles, and it's a 6/6.
Well, if you run, I think you run the Malcolms, and there's probably some other decent blue pirates just to give you that clause, but you can also just ignore that completely and just be like, okay, it's a 6/6 trampler that draws me a card. Card draw in the command zone is always good. I'm not sure exactly what his win cons are because I haven't looked at his list either. But
I'm looking at it right now. There's a whole bunch of small evasion creatures. Malcolms are in here, yeah.
I misspoke anyway because it's Coastal Piracy on a body. Because Coastal Piracy is whenever your creature. I didn't realize it was just any creature. I thought it was this. So yeah, slightly better.
A lot of extra turn spells in the deck.
I can see that being the main strategy because it's just get this thing out, crew it. You don't even have to crew it. You can just let this sit on the battlefield. You just literally attack with evasive small creature. It's Yuriko, but like you draw a bunch of cards.
It's your own personal Edric. And looking at Kirk's deck, I'm going to tell you now I'm going to hate playing against it.
Yeah, I can see him digging and then just be like, oh, extra turn, and then attack and dig, and extra turn, and attack and dig, and extra turn. There's probably enough of a depth of extra turn spells for that to actually be a thing. So next one is the Last Ride. It's 1 black. The Last Ride gets neg X, where X is your life total. So yikes, you got to be almost dead before you can cast this out of the command zone, but that is what it is. It's a 13/13, so yeah, like you basically have to be on your way out for this to actually be cast. But you can also pay 2 and a black, pay 2 life, draw a card, and it has crew 2. So it can do, it can 2-shot anybody, unless you play it earlier in the game where it's like a 1/1. But then you can play, pay life, draw cards to lower it, your life total to make it stronger. But as you're lowering your own life total, so is everybody else, and all your lands and your mana vaults and your run rings and things, you're dead faster than you are doing much. The problem is
it's 2 and a black and pay 2 life. It's too expensive.
Yeah. Oh, it is, for sure. But the whole point of it is to lower your life total to make this thing bigger, per se. But, yeah. It's not good.
It would be great in Standard.
Yeah. That's about the only place I see. I don't even see this being played in casual EDH, to be honest.
No.
It's just not good.
Yeah.
What's next? Hey, this is one you're working on.
The Lunar Whale, 3 and a blue, is from the Final Fantasy set. Flying. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as Lunar Whale attack this turn, you may play the top card of your library. Crew 1. It's a 3/5.
I like that Crew 1. Crew 1 is pretty freaking decent.
I've built this similar to how Kirk has built the Belligerent.
I mean, looking at a top card anytime is pretty good, and if you attack, you can... And Crew 1 is easy. It's a 3/5 flyer.
Super easy. It is mono blue, so it doesn't have the depth that the red gives to the Belligerent, but it has a big butt.
Well, I mean, it still combos immediately with an artifact reducer and top, right? So, I mean, you right there, and then you've got reality chip and other things like that. So you've got the cards that will allow you to dig through your deck, play shit off the top, potentially combo off.
I'm feeling like with how I'm building it, I'm just going to try to get it so it's a one-turn thing. As soon as it attacks and goes off, win the game.
I'm interested to see how that works.
I'm interested to see if I can do it.
Yeah.
The other big thing I love for this, because you don't have to attack with it to look at the top card of your library. It's at any time. Counterbalance is being thrown in this deck, and I'm going to hold you all prisoner with it.
I mean, like you've never done that before.
Exactly. It's perfect vehicle for me.
Next one here is the Prima Vista. It's 4 and a blue. It has flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, it becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Has Crew 2, and it's a 5/3. I can't say I like it. The requirement of paying 4+ mana to make it a artifact creature, just that line could just be gone. This could just be a vanilla flying Crew 2 5/3, and it would be the same. And even then, not good. I don't see use for this in the 99 anywhere either, outside of uber casual stuff that's casting a lot of high mana stuff. Yep. But even then, it's like, okay, cool, you play a fucking big ass 6, 7, 8 drop or whatever, and then you crew this thing for free. Wow. And it's mono blue. Bad. Pass on that one. Moving on.
Yep. The Pridwin Steel Flagship. 4 white from the Fallout set.
Brotherhood of Steel, baby.
Legendary artifact vehicle. Flying. Whenever another non-token artifact enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white human knight creature token. With this creature gets +2/+2 as long as an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn. Crew 2, and it's a 6/6.
This reminds me a lot of the Parhelion.
I don't hate this as a casual card. Otherwise,
Yeah, it's not good enough for comp. But yeah, in casual, I can see it. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of Parhelion. It costs 2 less mana. It doesn't come with the huge bodies. If this is out, anytime you cast a mana rock or just any generic fucking bullshit artifact, you get a 2/2. But then all the 2/2s can be pumped. So it's, I believe the way it's worded that checks, it still will be affected by the +2/+2. Yeah, they don't have haste. But you essentially get 4/4s off the bat. The cool thing about it is that if you were able to get this out early enough and make a few bodies, then all of a sudden you get an Anthem every turn, and that just continues to grow over time. So that's cool, but it just is such a huge investment. The good thing is that the knight coming in can then crew this. Yeah, it's very casual. Next one is the Regalia, which is from Final Fantasy 15, which I played. It's a cool looking car, whatever. It's a 4 generic, has haste. Whenever it attacks, reveal a card from the top of your library to reveal a land card, put that onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Has Crew 1, and it's a 4/4. So 4/4 haste with Crew 1, it's going to get in as soon as you play it, but it's only going to get you a land. Not great. In comp, this is garbage. If you're in a monocolored deck, this may be a way for you to ramp a little bit. I could see it in maybe a mono white list or something that doesn't really have that ability to ramp, to just be able to get lands.
Casual colorless deck, because you're getting wastes.
That could work too.
And you don't have a lot of searching for that. So
the thing is, though, is that it is just a land. It doesn't have to be a basic. So it can be in the 99 of a lower colored list that has a great utility land that could just come out, or whatever. If you're playing this in a green deck, it could just get you your Gaia's Cradle. But do you really want to waste a slot on that when you could just go,
and 4 mana and tapping a creature to crew it?
Yeah. In a landfall deck that's casual, maybe. This is just another way to get more lands on the field. That's cool. But outside of that, I'm not really feeling it.
Next one, Valor's Flagship. 4 white, white, white. Flying. First strike. Lifelink. Crew 3. Cycling. X2 and a white. When you cycle this card, create X11 pilot creature tokens with this token saddles, mounts, or crews vehicles as though it has power 2 greater. It's awful. Love it as a casual card. It's flying, first strike beater with lifelink.
It's
fantastic casual.
I wouldn't even play this in Joda because I could cheat it in for like it's just not that good. The cycling, okay, so 4 mana you get a 1/1. 5 mana you get 2 1/1s, etc., etc. So like for a minimum for this to even be good, you're paying like 10 mana to get some pilot creatures. And then you also have to have a variety of other creatures. Like, how many vehicles can you get in just colorless and white? It's a limited pool. So, like, how many of those do you really care about where pilots matter? Or the crewing things? It's just, ugh. Like I said, like, it feels good for Shorikai, but, like, outside of that, like, eh.
Yeah. I'm looking as a pure casual lens. I was looking at this as building a deck in 2018 still, where 7/7 for 7 with flying for strike lifelink was good.
We got a couple more, so I'll take the light side, you take the dark side. So this is the Weather Light. It's 4 mana, flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card, which is a artifact, legendary, or saga. Nobody plays sagas, so it's basically just artifacts and legendaries. That was the thing that Search for Glory did. It was snow land, legendary, or a saga. And the only saga was Urza's Saga. So it like hit all 3 marks while still being like, it's shit, but like in mono white, it's fine. Anyhow, you can look at the top 5, reveal a historic card, put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in it. Random order, crew 3, 4/5. So 4/5 flyer for 4, not terrible. And anytime it deals damage, you get to like go through your deck and find an artifact. Okay. If it went on the battlefield, it might be a little better. Because it goes in your hand, you still got to cast it. I don't hate it. Like, I've played it in a couple decks because it gives you a weird selection. And if you're in an artifact-heavy deck, it's just kind of top-end stuff. But I don't think it's good as a commander. I mean, yeah, if you're in an artifact-heavy deck, it's going to pull shit out for you. But it's not doing enough here. And 4/5 flying with crew 3 is not a great rate. Like, if it was like crew 1, maybe a little better, but even then, still really not good enough.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's very casual. I don't like it in comp, and I don't really like it. I wouldn't play it in the command zone or the 99, to be fair. So, and the dark side?
That Weatherlight Completed. 2 mana, which I like. I like that it's reduced cost. Flying. As long as the Weatherlight Completed has 4 or more Phyresis counters on it, it's a Phyrexian creature in addition to its other types. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a Phyresis counter on the Weatherlight Completed. Then draw a card if it has 7 or more Phyresis counters on it. If it doesn't, scry 1. It's a 5/5. 2 mana 5/5, which has sacrifice stuff to it.
It doesn't even have a crew cost.
Doesn't have a crew cost.
I didn't even notice that.
In the 99, I could see it being used in casual. In competitive, I don't see it being used. Maybe it combos a little bit with Eldrazi Spawn because they sacrifice bad mana.
That is what it combos with, because literally nothing else is going to get you to that point. Okay, so 2 mana, fine. It comes out early. But not having a crew cost, you have to get 4 counters on it, so you have to play this out and then have 4 things die, in this case, the spawns, I guess. And then it becomes a creature, and then it's just a creature. But then it doesn't have that vehicular clause that like saves it from shit when it's not crewed. So like that's kind of a weakness more than a strength. And then yeah, I guess
you know what,
getting the counters and eventually being able to draw cards is fine. But
looking at the wording, I don't mind it as in the 99 as much of something that's going to be big on sacrifice.
Sure,
just because. It's whenever a creature you controls dies, not only do you put a Phyresis counter on it, but then you draw a card if it has 7 or more.
Or you scry. Right.
Yeah.
So like you are still getting value out of it, but yeah.
Yeah. I can see it being used in a Persist deck. I can see it being used in Gravecrawler combos. Because the Gravecrawler is going to die. It's going to put a counter on it. You're going to scry 1. You're going to recast the Gravecrawler. over and over until you hit 7 counters on it, and then you range draw cards for each time you sack it. Does it have use? Sure. As a 2-mana artifact, I can see it having use.
I would play this over the original Weatherlight, but still probably not in the command zone because you want to have the black to do the Grave Crawler stuff.
Never in the command zone. In the 99 of a mono black deck, yes, I can see it being used.
That was the problem with a lot of these, is that they were just not quite good enough for the command zone, even though that was the whole thing. But again, Wizards doesn't make these types of decisions without considering their entire player base, and the largest portion of their player base is casual EDH. So these are cards that a lot of them have more potential than what we're giving them credit for because of the fact that we're kind of like competitive leaning. So when they make these sorts of changes, then they already have design plans down the pipeline, and there may be, more cool busted stuff coming that will end up being worth playing. So,
and this is a relatively recent print, right? It's Dominaria United, which was
2 years ago.
How long ago? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was like 2023.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. Time flies, buddy.
2022, released 2022. Wow,
even longer. Yep.
Wow. Okay, never mind. That was a while ago.
I mean, you think about it, like last year was like Outlaws of Thunder Junction and like Stella Lee and stuff. That was over a year ago already.
Izlain, I'm feeling old.
Bro, tell me when I'm about to be 43. But yeah, that's it. That wraps up what we have to talk about today. Again, there may be more Spacecraft. There will assuredly be more Spacecraft coming with Edge of Eternities and beyond. But, obviously vehicles have been a staple for roughly 10 years. So vehicles are going to continue to come around. We'll get some more legendaries, and maybe some of them will be cool. Because they've opened up this design space, they can now push them. And that's what they love to do, is they open up some design space and then they push the fuck out of it. So within the next year or two, we'll probably see some busted vehicle commanders. But, I'm not going to hold my breath either.
Let's wait for 6 months until they drop secret layer vehicles or something.
But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting design space. I'm glad that they're doing it because it is, like I said, very similar to some of the other designs that players have come up with some of these other variants. So them opening up the floodgates for that, I mean, this isn't really a flood. It's kind of a trickle because there weren't very many legendary vehicles to begin with. But again, they do this stuff. They know what they're doing. Couple of years, we'll have more options, and maybe we'll revisit the topic at another point in time. But for now, that wraps up what we had to talk about today. Actually went longer than I thought it was going to, but we were detailed, and that's what we do. Rev, thanks for joining me and making sure this thing happened. Again, going to have regular streams and regular videos coming out, gameplay at least. The podcast was meant to be bi-weekly. It has gone into a lot less than that. I should probably be at like episode 100 by now, and this is 30. So yeah, we've missed some weeks here and there, but I'm going to try and keep it consistent. I may even try to get it down to some kind of schedule. It's just working around everybody else's schedules that makes the podcast part a little bit harder because we've only got the stream day locked down, but going to try and get things more consistent again so that we can, increase the viewership and obviously spread knowledge and love and peace and happiness and all that good shit.
We're not going to do that.
we're not going to do that. But no. We'll have our snark and whatnot to accompany all of that. But yeah, that's it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you liked this topic and other things like it, or if you have a topic you'd like us to talk about, hit us in the comments below. Don't forget, I have a Patreon. There's merch. We've got playmats. We've got t-shirts. We've got other cool shit if you're interested in that sort of thing. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you guys next time. Have a good one.
Toodles.